amigos, amigas, friends, my friends, everybody. You know who this is? Of course, this is Thunder Rosa. And I want to introduce to all of you guys, all of you, this absolutely amazing channel. This is the Dre 41 Gaming channel. And if you haven't seen this, guys, you are watching Dre 41.
Makes sense. But, speaking of wrestling, another thing that you guys might not know about Shawn Stylz is that he actually used to be a professional wrestler, and he was trained by the late great Killer Kowalski.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little bit of stories of your training to become a professional wrestler?
Yeah.
And how that went for you?
Yeah, of course. So, I mean, since I can remember, back in my single digits, I've been obsessed with wrestling. I think probably the first match that I saw would have been something on like a Saturday night's main event. But the match that really made me want to be a professional wrestler was Shawn Brett, WrestleMania 12. It was the first live pay-per-view that I actually watched. I saw a lot of stuff, on VHSs and stuff, but I actually was at my friend's house. And I just remember being mesmerized by that match, like not believing like these guys just won an hour. They freaking didn't stop. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And, when I turned 18, I told my mom, I said, I'm going to call Killer Kowalski and try to see if I can go to a school. And she goes, oh, okay. Because at the time, man, hey, we had these things back in the day called phone books. So you would flip through these phone books, and I knew that dude lived in Malden. So I just went to the Malden phone book. I looked up his name, Walter Kowalski. I gave him a call. No answer. I left a message on his machine saying, hey, my name is Sean Smith. I've been in level wrestling my whole life. I want to become a professional wrestler. I want you to train me. And just probably sounded like a crazy idiot. But then I think the voicemail ended up cutting off on me because I was talking too much. So anyways, I hang up the phone, and like an hour later, my mom goes, there's this guy, Walter, on the phone for you. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So I pick up the phone, and I'm like, hello. And he's like, hello, I'm looking for Sean. And I'm like, hey, this is Sean. He's like, this is Walter Kowalski. How are you? And I was like, oh, I'm good. I'm real good. He's like, so you want to be a professional wrestler, huh? And I'm like, yeah, I do. He's like, all right, well, I got a school in Malden. We run classes. It was like Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, or Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then weekend classes were kind of like open ring. Mm-hmm. So I went to the school for like a month or two to just watch what they were doing. I didn't have any money to sign up. I didn't have anything. So this was probably in like November, December of 2001. Okay. So after I would leave their class, I would go home and I would do everything I saw them do for drills in the ring outside in the snow. And I would just start writing down all their drills, writing down everything they were doing, and just to kind of like get familiarized with the routine of their class. And in January, Walter said to me, he goes, are you ever going to join? And I'm like, I really want to, but I don't have the money right now. And he said, well, what if I told you you could join and pay me when you get it? And I said, you do that? And he said, yeah, as long as you're good for it. And I said, okay. So the next week I started training. And eventually I saved up the cash. It was like $2,500 up front and then $50 a month for ring fees. And I started training January 23rd of 2002. Oh. My initial class, I'm trying to think. The head coach was Slick Wagner Brown. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. Oh. Wicked awesome dude. But like Eddie Edwards was in my original class. Chris Nowinski had kind of just left and coming back and forth from TV to work on some spots and stuff. I think I was actually one of the first people to take his honor roll finisher.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and we did that for a couple hours in class. But it was just surreal, man. Like, there was a feeling you got when you were walking up the stairs in that building and you could hear them bumping in the ring and you could hear the screams, you could smell the sweat. And I mean, for the first few months, man, I was just getting stretched. I came in right at the end of that that I think time period where it was still about the business and it wasn't about collecting money for the school. So if you came to the school, you were going to be put to the test. You were going to be stretched. You were going to get blown up. Like you were going to pay your dues.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, this is crazy, because I'd be putting in like abdominal stretches and I couldn't breathe. They'd be blowing me up, like just running back and forth, running chop lines on you in the corner. But I loved it, bro. I couldn't get enough of it. And eventually, I tell you one thing: if you're a hairy dude, which I'm a very hairy dude, and you're in the wrestling business, you're gonna learn to shave your chest real quickly, because I was having dudes just rip fistfuls of it right out of my chest during training, like to shave your chest, bro. Shave your chest, bro. Damn. But no, man. Eventually, all that calmed down, and I started really getting more out of the classes. And I think my first match was in April of 2003. So I started training January of 2002, and I actually got in the ring on a show April of 2003.
Wow, that's quick. I mean, like looking back at it, do you feel like the training was sufficient enough for you to be ready at that time?
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't think it would have been something that they would have been keen on me doing, because especially when you're like coming out of a school, especially a well-known school like Kowalski's, you carry that brand with you wherever you go. There's a certain amount of respect that you need to uphold and that you receive because of that name that you carry. So I was definitely ready. I was lucky enough to work with another guy who was from Kowalski's school, who took very good care of me. His name is Darren DeCenzo. And I had my first match in Everett at the high school for, what was it? Ringside Entertainment Wrestling. And I think there was probably like maybe 1,500 people there.
Oh, wow.
And I was green as grass, just, oh man, full black singlet, had like frosted tips in my hair. Oh, bro. Oh. It was a rough time. But yeah. But no, it was the start of something that I'd always wanted to do. I couldn't believe it. Like I'd go home and I'd pinch myself, because, I mean, yeah, granted, it's the indies. It is what it is. But for me, as a kid who dreamed about being a wrestler, just to be inside of a ring in a gymnasium with people was unheard of. Like I didn't never think that was going to happen.
Yeah, that's like for your first match to have 1,500 people there. That's like that must.
Well, that's the beauty of sold shows, my man.
For real, because I mean, it's like only way I could ever look at it is from the fans' perspective, and when it's like you see all those people there, and like everybody's into the show and everybody's watching what's going on in the ring. It's like it really is like, man, like you get this feeling that you don't get when you watch it on TV.
Oh yeah, it's that live electricity, man. Whether you're in the stands or you're in the ring, there's a certain energy there that is, it's like intangible. You feel it, but you can't. It's something that is just it's electricity. It's an adrenaline rush. It's a high. Excuse me, and it's just it's something that you chase. Once you have it once, you want to do it again. You want to do it again. You want to do it again.
Yeah. Okay, tell me about this, because this is something that I always wanted to ask anybody who's been in the professional wrestling business. When did you decide, or what got you into the idea of your own gear? Was it when you first started training, when it was like, okay, I need to get some gear, I need to stand out, I need to look a type of way?
Yeah, so initially, my first idea for a gimmick was to be called the Beantown Bad Boy. And I kind of, modeled myself after, the head coach, who was Wagner Brown. I looked up to him a lot, man. He was so good in the ring. And at that point, I was like, I'm just going to be this Beantown street bad boy. So I wore a do-rag. I was coming out to 50 Cent in the club. I was, oh man, it was bogus. And then eventually I worked on a show with this guy, Jason Delegata, Jason